Well, good morning. Intermittent rain today, so we're not at the dock. We're again at Nesbitt's Isle of Coffee, 1995 Island Highway, Campbell River. Trust everyone's well. Thanks for sort of taking another look at what we're doing. It's been interesting. Like I always do, I've got some neat links that I'll put in the comment section. One of the I always talk about leaders, and we're watching who is getting ready to run for, say, the different parties, and we know the Conservatives are sort of going to be leaderless. So Dr. Leslyn Lewis, a good interview with her. She's one of the candidates. I haven't listened to her before, but I found her interesting. You know, there's rumor that Trudeau is going to call an election, perhaps this fall, you know, and so I think it sort of behooves all of us to really take a look at who's running, who's out there, what's happening politically. And of course, on regular news, regular TV channels, you're not seeing much of that. They're more into sort of waiting for Trudeau to come out of his bedroom and to the bottom of the stairs and make an announcement. And you know, I don't know how many world leaders do you know who are doing that, who are staying at home and just coming out, making an announcement and leaving it to other people to sort of run the country. Of course, Boris Johnson did that, but he was in intensive care when he was doing that. As soon as he got better, well, he's back on the job. And I find that intriguing, you know, as you look to who you would like to follow. And of course, Trudeau is sort of buying lots of votes. Got into a conversation the other day, and people say, well, it's going to be hard to get people back to work because most people don't want to work. And I don't know how true that is. You know, I know a lot of people like to work, like to get out and do something different. I agree. No, I would have to agree with the other side of that conversation, that finding really good employees is difficult. But having said that, when you look, I'm not sure. A lot of people are at home, are being paid to stay home, and you know, some are on unemployment insurance, some are being paid from work, and some are on the $2,000 a month deal. And I suppose when you think about it, is it because people don't want to work, or is it just smart finances? If you're being paid $2,000 a month to stay home, are you going to go back to work for minimum wage and before that bonus ends? You know, because when you work it all out, you can do the math. You would work 40 hours a week at minimum wage, and what are you going to make? $300 a month more? So in effect, you're working for $300 a month. You're going to put 160 hours in for that. No, it doesn't make dollars and cents, does it? Some industrious people might, but most people are going to say, well, if you're sending me $2,000, why would I work for minimum wage? It's an interesting conundrum. I think it ends at the end of June, so we'll see how the reopening goes and how all of that sort of happens. Talking about being paid to stay home, many of our MPs, federal ministers, are staying home as well. Here's the difference. They're making on average, this is basic minimum before any bonuses, perks, and extras that they get. They're making about $15,221.33 a month versus your $2,000 if you're on that program. So if you did that for a year, you'd be making $24,000, and of course it's pretty much tax-free. An MP would be making $182,656 as a base salary, and of course the Prime Minister makes twice that, plus all the other perks for staying. And he's staying home too. It's sort of interesting. So if you feel that they're doing you a big favor by paying you $2,000 a month, and it obviously is helping, don't get me wrong. and they're giving you some rent subsidies if you're renting, in letting you sort of defer. And you got to underline that defer and understand what defer means. Defer your payments, because it means you got to pay them back, and in many cases you'll be paying more interest. So when it comes voting time, I know a lot of people are just off the top go and vote for Liberal because, well, Trudeau gave me all this money. He's my man. And I think more of the people I know are thinking people, and we'll see through that. Because the thinking people are going to realize we're going to have a big debt load. There's just a whole lot of hurt ahead to pay for all this. A whole lot of hurt ahead to pay for all this. And if we don't think there is, well, you know, I think of taxes and what have you. And when I think of taxes, the federal government was getting ready to charge small business more taxes because they needed more money. And of course there was a big kerfuffle raised about it as associations and that started protesting. And to sort of lay out the news that the Prime Minister and the Finance Minister had their investments in offshore accounts, were investing in other countries and wanting us to, some of them were tax-free, and wanting us to pay more taxes. So they quickly rescinded that tax increase to small business. But as we get things rolling again, those small businesses that are left, well, just do the dollars and cents thing, and you'll realize we're going to all be paying more money to dig ourselves out of this. You know, I've watched some economists who figure we'll be here till 1932. Think about that. We won't be getting out of this till 1932. And their graphics and their illustrations take it back to this all started before the pandemic around June, as the worldwide economies were really starting to get into trouble. And of course, most of us sitting at home, doing our thing, getting our 2,000 aren't thinking of all that ramifications, but some of us are. So that's about all for today. We'll get back to the docks and the Dreaming Do situation when the weather perks up. But I thought this morning we'd just hang tight here, say hi to everyone, and thank you all for watching. And know, as they say, if you feel like subscribing, please do. And click that little bell so you get notifications. It's they haven't. We've been sort of censored once, but it's interesting. You can get censored, but you can put stuff in poetry, and they don't censor that. I find that that's sort of cool. And I think throughout history, writers have done that. Incidentally, when I started writing years and years ago, I was still a kid on top of a straw pile with my dog. I remember one of my famous teachers, Mr. Peter Pellicotti, used to say, the idea to write is to put in 10 lines what it takes other people 500 pages to say. And if you can sort of work on that, and that always came natural to me. And of course, when I was a kid on top of the haystack, or straw pile, my dog he was part wolf and part Keysound. He loved everything I ever said. He just never argued with it. So now as a young kid, everything, I thought I was perfect, sort of thing. I can go more into that another time, but I find it interesting. You can phrase something in a poem, and the censors miss it. I'm not sure. Maybe they don't read poetry, they don't like poetry, or they're just stupid. I don't know. So having said that, maybe I'll get censored again. But so watch the links. You'll find some interesting stuff. It was interesting to hear Dr. Leslyn Lewis. I have to hear more of her, see her run some debates and see. But we'll see. Bye for now. Take care, and we'll see you again.